Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into the story of an athlete whose records don't just stand, they seem to defy time itself. It's a story of blinding speed, game-changing style, and a legacy that's as brilliant as it is complicated. Take a look at this number, 10.49. That's the world record for the women's 100-meter dash. It was set by the one and only Florence Griffith Joyner, or Flo-Jo, all the way back in 1988. And get this, nobody has run faster since. And this one, 21.34, that's her 200-meter world record from the very same unbelievable year. I mean, think about that. Two records made in a single summer that have stood for more than 30 years. So the big question is how? How is it possible that these records are still on the books? In this explainer, we're going to dig into how one athlete completely redefined what we thought was possible for human speed, and why her story is still so powerful and so controversial. So let's get into it. How did she pull this off? It really all starts with the one race that kicked off both the legend and the controversy. We're talking about the 1988 U.S. Olympic trials in Indianapolis. What happened there wasn't just a world record. It was a jump in performance that, to this day, people just can't quite explain. Just take a look at these numbers. In the quarterfinal, she runs a 10.49. Now, that's not just breaking the world record, she absolutely obliterated it by almost 0.3 of a second. In sprinting, that's an eternity. But now, look at the win reading for that race, a perfect 0.0. And right there, that's where the debate begins. You see, the controversy over that 10.49 all comes down to the wind. In track and field, the rules are super strict. If you have a tailwind blowing behind you at more than 2.0 meters per second, it's considered too much of an advantage, and the record doesn't count. And here's the heart of the issue. On one hand, you have the official wind gauge right by the track, which read 0. But then other instruments around the stadium were picking up these crazy, strong, illegal tailwinds, more than double the legal limit. So a lot of people think the official gauge just must have malfunctioned. The record stands, but that question mark has hovered over it ever since. So, win or no wind, you still have to ask, how did she get that fast? To really get it, we have to rewind 4 years, to the gap between the 84 and 88 Olympics, because honestly, the Flo-Jo who showed up in Seoul in 88 was a completely different person from the one who'd competed before. Yeah, the Flo-Jo of 1988 was like a total reboot. After winning a silver medal in 84, she actually kind of stepped away from the sport for a bit. When she came back, she had a new coach, her husband, Al Joyner, and, well, a very different, much more powerful physique. Her new training routine was just legendary, seriously intense. Under her husband's direction, she focused everything on building explosive power. We're talking heavy-duty weightlifting, squats, lunges, and an almost insane dedication to her core strength. I mean, up to 5,000 sit-ups a day. That was the engine that powered her incredible speed that summer. But you know, the change wasn't just physical. It wasn't just about muscle. Flo-Jo was also starting a revolution in what an athlete could look like. Even before she was the fastest woman alive, she was changing the game with her style and self-expression. She brought a kind of glamour to the track that nobody had ever seen before. The asymmetrical one-legger running suits, which she designed herself, the 6-inch painted fingernails, the bright colors. It was a huge statement that said you could be a world-class, serious athlete without giving up your femininity or your flair. And for Flo-Jo, this wasn't just some gimmick. It was her philosophy. It was a key part of her performance. That style was a form of psychological warfare. It told her competitors, I'm so confident, so relaxed, that I can show up looking like this and still beat you. Of course, when an athlete explodes onto the scene like she did, it brings a lot of attention, both good and bad. The whole world was watching her, which meant incredible opportunities, but also intense suspicion. People just couldn't wrap their heads around her sudden improvement. That, combined with her more muscular build, led other athletes and the media to start whispering about performance-enhancing drugs, and those rumors would follow her for the rest of her life. But here's where things get really interesting, because you have the rumors on one side and the cold, hard facts on the other. Despite all the talk, Florence Griffith Joyner never, not once, failed a drug test. In 1988 alone, she passed 11 of them. She always denied the allegations, and even an examination after her death found no evidence of steroid use. So in 1989, she retired right at the top of her game. And what she did next was brilliant. She didn't just fade away, she became a global brand. She designed those iconic Flo-Jo uniforms for the Indiana Pacers. She had her own fashion doll. She started a youth foundation. She even got a presidential appointment. Then, in 1998, the world got some absolutely shocking news. At just 38 years old, Florence Griffith Joyner had died suddenly in her sleep. Because of who she was and because of all those persistent rumors, her death was put under a microscope. I mean, the authorities conducted an exhaustive investigation, initially treating it with the same level of seriousness as a homicide case, just to make sure they got it right. And the autopsy revealed a clear but tragic medical story. It turned out she had a congenital brain condition, something she was born with. This condition caused a severe seizure while she was sleeping, which tragically led to her suffocating. So, in the end, the science provided a definitive answer. The coroner's final conclusion was that her death was a tragic result of a natural congenital condition. It had nothing to do with her athletic career, and it finally put those damaging drug rumors to rest. Decades after her passing, you could argue that Flo-Jo's influence is bigger than ever. It goes way beyond just the times in the record books. Seriously, you see the Flo-Jo effect everywhere. You see it when an icon like Serena Williams wears a one-legger outfit as a tribute. You see it in the unapologetic style and confidence of stars like Sha'Carri Richardson. She was really the first to create the blueprint for the modern athlete as a brand. A runner, a designer, a business person, all in one. Her records are still the mountain that every female sprinter is trying to climb. And that leaves us with one final, fascinating thought. Did we see the absolute peak of human velocity back in 1988? Or is that finish line, her unbreakable record, still out there, just waiting for someone to finally cross it?